Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our Couch to Career series. My name is Courtney McClellan. We know that summer is coming up pretty soon and you're ready to be done with school, but we did want to keep some of these career topics on the front of your mind here. So we're glad that you're joining us again this week. We have some really good content in store for you. Make sure that if you haven't already, to check out some of our previous videos for some of our other topics that we've already covered this semester.
And hi, everyone. My name is Sauvik and Courtney and I both work as career advisors in the Pomerantz Career Center. And so we're glad that you're joining us for today's topic. Today's topic is going to be about personal branding. And to do that, we have brought in another special guest, Adam Parker, to talk through what is personal branding, how do you develop your own personal brand, and why it's so important. Similar to last week's video, we'll run through a couple interview questions, but at the end, we'll make sure that we give Adam plenty of time to share his piece of advice too with all of you. Before we jump into any of the questions, first of all, Adam, thanks for joining us and welcome to the video. Can you just give our listeners a little bit of background information on who you are?
Yeah, thanks for having me. My name's Adam Parker. I work in alumni engagement for the University of Iowa, or UI Healthcare in the Carver College of Medicine. I had the joy of previously working with Sauvik, doing international recruitment, which brought me all around the world, which I learned a lot of very valuable skills that hopefully I'll be able to convey in this message today. Above that, I'm an includer, a lover of stand-up comedy, and sincerely excited to be here and share some wisdom and knowledge with all the to-be graduates and college students today.
Awesome. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into some of those questions about personal branding. So jumping into our first question, I know that we've all heard of branding before, companies have brands and different things like that, but Adam, can you share with us what is personal and professional branding?
Yeah, I think a lot of college students, especially when you're looking for your first job, need to be cognizant or aware of the three identities that you're going to encounter your first year in a new job. The first identity is kind of your personal brand. The second is the corporate brand. And then the last and new one is your professional brand. When generally most people think of their personal brand, it's how they present themselves out in public. This is how you are with your friends, with your family, what you dress, what type of humor you enjoy. College students have really lived their entire lives developing this. They've also developed a really good digital footprint or digital brand, highly curated Instagram pages. Hopefully you're navigating new LinkedIn profiles and really presenting yourself the way you want to. But one of the biggest transitions that a lot of college students are going to have is developing their professional brand. And this is really your value proposition to what you bring to the table at the company and how you present yourself at that company. A lot of college students have never put a lot of thought into whether they're going to be friends with their colleagues, what their professional wardrobe and what that presents or tells or signals to other people. So really thinking and reflecting about what the way you present yourself in the workplace is kind of your professional brand. And a lot of college students are going to need to be thinking about that.
Thanks, Adam, for that great definition of professional and personal branding. Let's focus a little bit more in on that professional branding. Why do you think that that's so important?
Generally, a lot of college students, they know what brands are and what they represent and kind of what that signals to the entire company. For instance, Apple has Steve Jobs. I mean, he rocks the turtleneck. He has a relentless pursuit for sleek innovation, which has really channeled a cold allegiance to Apple. Tesla has Elon Musk. He overpromises and overdelivers. I mean, Tesla doesn't even market, and I'm talking about them on this video. And the last one I want to talk about is just the restaurant with the eccentric owner. I can guarantee you that the food was not bland if you know that the owner's eccentric. And this is really all about kind of signaling to your employees your brand value and what that represents. The unique thing that happens, especially in the world, is something called mimicry. If you can see, I'm touching my face, and I guarantee a lot of you watching this video may have touched your face, which don't do that in this era. But one thing you should be aware of is mimicry. We kind of embody all those around us, from items of clothes we wear. That's how fashion translates to our supervisors in the relationship we have. We pick up a lot of their characteristics and traits, but this happens up the corporate ladder. So one thing you need to be consistent and cognizant of is the kind of corporate brand you're joining, because ultimately you're going to grow to emulate those around you and the other employees that work there. And that's really what helps develop your professional kind of brand.
So Adam, then how do you start building your brand?
Yeah, I think a lot of college students, there's a lot of things in place that have helped students identify kind of who they are as a person. All of you have done personality profilers, at least your first few years of college, and then probably forgot about them. But these are the things that you're really going to need to leverage, especially your first few years in the job. For me personally, I'm an includer, and I love to utilize humor. In my profession, I need to establish relationships really quickly. So the fact that I bring folks in, but then also try and make light of any situation really helps me establish a connection right away. The second thing you're going to want to do is be proactive and utilize your professional network. One of the things I really enjoyed early on in my career is I would voice what I wanted to those in charge, and really sought out opportunities that I wanted. One of those was I worked in student recruitment, so international recruitment was kind of booming at the time, and I had the opportunity to put myself out there and voice my opinion of wanting to do that, and it allowed me to travel to over 45 countries on planet Earth eventually. So be proactive, and then put yourself out there. One thing that a lot of college students don't think about is in terms of networking and professional networking, there's something called professional conferences that most industries have, which you can really establish yourself as a content expert if you volunteer to present at those conferences. That's not only one way to make friends and instantly have a topic to talk about outside of that pitch, but it also lends yourself as an expert. So when other institutions or other companies are looking to hire people, your name's already out there. So it could potentially come top of mind when they're looking to hire somebody. That's really how to leverage your professional network and networking at some of those large conferences.
So Adam, now we've had a definition of what a brand is and why it's important. What's a strategy that you would encourage our new graduates to implement as they try to align their brand with that of an organization?
Yeah, I don't think a lot of students have really put a lot of thought into that, because ultimately their first step is landing the job, especially in right now in this kind of uncertain market. They're just worried about maintaining a salary. But one of the first hurdles you're going to overcome that first week at your new company is really how you present yourself and kind of your professional brand. In this series, we're learning a lot of tips and the tricks. Compliment all of you, couch to career, or I like to call it sweatpants to dress pants. But I do think college students do need to reflect on how they present yourselves, especially when the first signal that you have is the interview and who you're interviewing with. There's a lot. You'll learn a lot about the corporate identity and corporate brand, about how they present themselves, and really be as honest with yourself about, is that the type of organization that you want to join? Because ultimately not a lot is going to change with how those interactions happen with those colleagues between that interview and day-to-day life at that company. In addition to that, you need to be thinking about how you present yourself at that organization. Do you want to be friends with everybody you work with? Do you not want to be friends with everybody you work with? What are you signaling by what you are dressing, how you interact with other employees? Are you going out to lunch? Are you going to meet and greets after work with all of them? Those are all things that you need to be thinking about how you present yourself. And the last one is that mimicry topic I talked about earlier, which especially early on in your career, you're going to be learning and developing a lot of new habits, both good and bad. And mimicry, especially with your supervisor, they're going to have a lot of control over a lot of those habits that you do develop. So be really cognizant and pick up what your supervisor's strengths are and look to emulate those. But maybe notice some of the strengths that you're less fond of, or weaknesses potentially, and really be cognizant of those interactions, because you are developing and growing, especially those first 1 or 2 years in a new profession.
Okay, so Adam has given us some really good tips and tricks about personal and professional branding today, but is there any other piece of advice you want to leave us with?
Yeah, there's two things. The first one is just confidence and finding your confidence and doing what kind of makes you happy. I think that's going to help you out tremendously by pursuing and being proactive about the certain job duties that you really excel at and seeking to do those more frequently. So you continue to build upon those. That will make you more confident. In your personal life, find what makes you happy and confident. For me, that is exercise. For you, that could be reading, that could be hanging out with friends. Just know what makes you the most confident to be the best representation of yourself. The second thing is just reflection. This is something I am personally working on at the end of every day, at the end of every month, at the end of every year. Just think about your major wins. Think about things that you could potentially improve. Ask friends or professional colleagues for feedback about how you presented a pitch, how your work topic. Ask them how it went, because ultimately you only have one lens that you're viewing life through, and oftentimes professional colleagues have a similar view or are looking at it from another angle you haven't seen. So just learn to reflect and take any words of encouragement or any advice to heart, and you can choose to act upon that or not. Ultimately, the main thing is about growth, and that's really what we want every Hawkeye to do, is to grow in their profession and be successful in that.
Awesome. Thank you, Adam, for all that great insight about personal and professional branding. And that's going to then conclude our video for this week. So once again, thank you, Adam, for joining us. And for all of our listeners and viewers out there, thank you all for joining for this content as well. So before you leave the video, make sure you hit the like button below. And then for next week's topic, we're going to do a grab bag topic. So in the comments below, go ahead and indicate any type of career or personal or professional related topic that you would like to learn more about. And then we'll do a live drawing and then create a video on that topic. So it's a chance for you to get interactive with us and then also participate in our videos. So that's, again, going to conclude our video. So from our couch to yours, thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your day, and go Hawks. Bye.
Thank you. Go Hawks.